E to the U to the E, man. Where the hood, where the hood, where the hood at? Had a nigga in the truck where the wood at. All the niggas acting up where the wolves.
What's up, Internet? Corey Zamia here, and it's time to finally respond to the bad graphics gamers. I was tagged in one of the Taggin tubers videos, I believe. No, I actually don't know where this one originated, but I was tagged by the bad graphics gamers about a month ago, and I've been lazy about this. I believe it's about our top 5 video games of all time, or our favorite games of all time. So let's get right into it, and at the very end of the video, I'm going to tag some people to do this video also. First up, I guess, well, in number 5 slot, and I actually put in a lot of thought to this last night. I feel like I've had this very set top 3, and number 4 and number 5 like always kind of fluctuate, but right now, as I am today, this is my top 5. Number 5, Final Fantasy VII. And one of the main things I thought about when coming about this list is, what games do I always go back to? What games do I actually actively, if I had the time, want to play again? And there's not that many games in my collection that I feel that way. Final Fantasy VII is a game that if Alicia would sit through it, I would love to play through the game for her. Maybe when it comes out with its remake in like 15 years. Maybe then, if they don't ruin the game. But Final Fantasy VII, my number 5 game. Number 4 is, well, it's a tie, but it's not really a tie. We got Pokemon X and Y. As you know, they're basically the same game. This game, or this set of games, definitely redefined how great a Pokemon game can be. Unfortunately, they're not that challenging, but for the market that they're trying to appeal to, they don't need to be. And we, as people that play Pokemon games, especially if you're on YouTube, we find ways to make the game challenging for ourselves, so we don't really need them to put out a very challenging game. With that said, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire didn't quite live up to Pokemon X and Y, so that's why they're my number 4. Number 3 is probably the game I consider my first ever RPG addiction, and that is the original Suikoden. I've never really come up with a way I prefer to say it. I've always said Suikoden. A lot of people on the internet say Suikoden. A lot of people butcher it worse than I ever could. And I absolutely love this game. We rented it originally. Most of my games from that era, the PlayStation 1 era, and even the Super Nintendo era, were mostly rentals, and then if I loved them enough, I would eventually get them. I remember renting this game and playing it with my friend Alan, who lived up the street, and at some point after we got to the castle in this game, I fucked up because I was running out of space on my PlayStation 1 memory card, and I accidentally deleted our file. And it was one of those things where normally that would just be the end, you don't go back to it, fuck that. We were like 20 something, maybe 30 hours into the game, and it wasn't a big deal. We just played through it again. And I've actually done that with the second game in the series too, where I accidentally fucked up and deleted my save file. It's just the way Suikoden games go, I guess. Number 2 on my list, probably the game that I've sunk the most time into overall, Final Fantasy Tactics for the PlayStation 1. I absolutely love this game. I put the one for the PlayStation 1 higher on that pedestal than I would for the PSP remake, just because I actually, when I was growing up, I didn't mind the dialogue in this game. Like, some of it was a little weird, it was a little bit mistranslated, but that was fine. That was just the way the game was to me. When they remade the game on the PSP, they basically, I always refer to it as like making the dialogue more Shakespearean, where it's just like thys and dost thou do, and it's just like, what the fuck? I really enjoyed Final Fantasy Tactics for the PS1 to the point where I probably put, I'd say, like 300 hours into this. And that's over the course of like beating the game 3 times. And number 1, this is the game I always come back to. This is the game that if you look at my Super Nintendo, it's automatically in there. And of course, my favorite game of all time, NHL 94. I've made claims in the past that I am the best there was, the best there is, and the best there ever will be at playing this game. Honestly, on the Super Nintendo, I'm at least top 5. I don't feel like that's too bold of a claim. With that said, I have some people to tag. First up, I would like to tag the Canadian Comment King, Roaming Dan. Go check him out. I'll have a link to his channel down in the description. Also, of course, I can't tag Roaming Dan without tagging the other person I do a show with, Rob Mitchell. He only hoards everything. Rob Mitchell, the video game hoarder. And lastly, let me tag somebody that has been commenting on my channel for years. I really appreciate. Darth Sega, you've been tagged. Let me know what your 5 favorite games of all time are. I wish I had an idea of who started this thing, but I don't. And I've only actually seen the Bad Graphics Gamers video on this, so I don't know where this originated. I don't think they mentioned it. So if you know, let them know in the comments below. Go check out everybody that I mentioned in this video. Check out our show that we do on Saturday nights. Doesn't quite have a name yet, but I'm okay with that. And as always, keep it real, internet. Yeah, buddy. No, I can't do that impersonation.